Hi, welcome back, my dear subscribers. Today is another episode in my home lab in here, and today I decided to make some video about how to make the custom length of any kind of spokes. Because let's say that in the past I had a lot of experiences with different types of projects, and I'm just gonna expose three cases. So one case is in the past when I was building some kind of eccentric wheel. It was necessary, as you can see, the hub is not basically placed in the center. So I had to build the wheel. This was for some special propulsion, I don't know, for the bike. It was called eccentric propulsion for one bicycle. The bike unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. It was already sold, but I still kept the rear wheel. So as you can see in here, every individual spoke have different length, and it was kind of very time consuming even to find the right length, because if you want to order custom built spokes, it will cost a lot. So it was not a cost effective project. So I decided at that time, okay, so what you can do, you can take, let's say, 300 millimeter long spokes all together. These were basically used one, not new. And then you simply calculate individual length that you need for each hole. So basically you can see that they're inside like with some kind of hooks. How to make that hook is basically very easy. I will show you the spoke. So this is the spoke. It looks like this one. Of course, in here you need to cut, because you don't need such a long tail. But of course, some smart people will say, yeah, why you just don't cut and make another thread? Okay, you need to have first of all the tool. The cut thread tool, thread cutter, is very expensive. That's first thing. And if you cut the thread in here, it's definitely not so high resistant to the load as original thread, because these threads are not cut with the thread cutter, but they're put it between two wheels, and they just let's say deform the shape, so the mechanical properties of the spokes are much more better than if you would cut the thread. And anyway, if you want to buy the thread cutter, you will never get all that money back, because you don't need the spokes like this every day. Another project was basically when in the past I had one bike. It was Shimano wheel, had the straight spokes. These are original. I don't know what type of the wheel was. I think it was RS, maybe 20 or 10, I don't know. And these spokes were very fragile. These are basically aero profile. I don't know, are these cold forged or hot forged, but it was very, very annoying, because anytime you hit some kind of bump or laying police on the floor, you could expect the spokes break at this part where the thread is. So it was so annoying. Every time go to some long distant training group ride, I remember we just almost get to crossing the border when I get the issue with the rear wheel. And because the wheel had less spokes, of course it was not possible to continue with broken spoke, because it was hitting despite opening the brake caliper, it was still hitting the brake pads. So we just caught the time, because the workshop at the side of the road was not closed yet. I came inside and I asked the mechanic, yeah, can I get the spare part of this? And he said, no way, it's not possible. This is straight spoke. It's not J-bend spoke like this one. And I said, okay, listen, don't make me even more nervous at that time. And I said, give me the casual spoke. I told them the length. I had the pliers with me, casual pliers like this, and what I did it, I just use these pliers and unbent this part and became straight. And he said, no way, this will not work. He was like a smart ass. And I said, you know what? I give my life that this spoke will be the last one who will break in the system of the wheel. And that was exactly, I was using that wheel for a long time until I didn't have all the spokes basically made by myself, straighten up this J-bend spoke and had no issues with it. And another way that I'm exposing this kind of spoke system creation or the tool is because recently I was mechanic for Indonesian downhill team, and they were sponsored with the different companies, and they got some new set of wheels. And when I saw those wheels, I said, okay, where are the spare parts? The spokes, the length was different, everything was a little bit strange. I said, listen, someone should supposed to give you the spokes. And they said, no, the sponsor said this is bulletproof wheel. And I said, you know what, okay, if you use for city bike, there is no problem, I can guarantee you that will not break. But on downhill races, excuse me, I said, this is ridiculous, it will have an issue. And of course those tires, those wheels were tubeless. And not only that, the spoke diameter was not 2 millimeter like this one, but 1.8. I said, you know what, if the spoke will be broken, you need to open the tire, you need to change the nipple, the nut which goes at the end of this thread. And of course I was lucky enough to have with me the arsenal of different spoke lengths like this one, but they are standard G-bend, some have aero profile, whatever. But anyway, it happened, shit happened, so I had the tool with me, which is basically only the plate, like you see in this. This is holding inside, and this is the hole. This is the hole in here, which have a little bit, let's say, round edges in here on both sides. So what you do, basically, you insert inside the straight spoke, which is not bent. You need to know exactly what the length you need. First of all, you bend this up, right, and then you just use the hammer and hit on this side until you get the curve. So then you can simply put it out, and you can cut this like this. Okay, fall down, and now we have the spoke in here. So as you can see, the result is similar like in here. And believe it or not, the spoke like this have more it basically holds more strength, I mean more force or more load, withstand more load than if you just use the thread. I mean not the thread. I should supposed to do this bend on this side, you know. I should cut that it's first straight, and then, and this cap, which is basically forged, the mechanical properties are worse than if you do like this. And I was testing all this equipment, I mean this system, on this wheel, because this wheel you can place like this and you apply the load from both sides and measuring the force. And I remember one time when I was doing this in my friend's garage, found out that the spokes, if used the casual G bend spoke, basically could not withstand that much of load as this system. And of course, why I'm showing you this, because a lot of people go on travel and they have a problem with the spoke, and they stop at the workshop and they will say, no, it's not possible, we need to order special spokes or whatever. Calm down. Just be sure they have some metal. Ask them to drill 2.1 millimeter hole, because this is 2 millimeter diameter of the spoke hole, and do with the bigger drill a little bit round the edges on both sides, and then you just say to them, give me one bigger spoke, I mean not bigger, longer spoke. You know the length, you cut, you measure where the first bend need to be, do it like this and put it back. But of course, don't forget, don't do this on the thread side. You need the thread, so you do this on this side. You cut it first, this J-bend corner, and then you put it inside and create new spoke. And it's very cost effective. It will not cost you anything. This is some 2 millimeter thick, or 2.5 maybe, metal plate. Drill the hole, and that's all the tool. And anyway, if you go on travel, you can have this with yourself. You can put some place, it doesn't matter. You don't need this holder for the plate. You can put it between your legs or just on the floor. The most important is that you have longer spoke that you actually need, if you don't have the spares, of course. Hope for enjoying this video and that it will help you to solve some issues. So see you soon. Bye.